Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I tell you, I got a reoccurring guest that's on my show. Every time she is on the show, it just brings so much excitement and joy, and her messages are right on, right on. We talked, I guess, about 2.5 weeks ago on the show, and she talked about what's in your toolbox, and it was so powerful, so wonderful. I said, "Hey, Stacy, we got to get you back on to talk to more about the toolbox." So we got her back on today. We talking about Stacy Bulluck. And you probably done seen her on 5, 6, 7, 8 times and probably gonna see her on a lot more. And not just that, you can tune into her show. I think her show come up start I think the 19th of May. It's on the It's Your Life Media Network on the E360. And this woman is incredible. And she is going to really help a lot of people around the world, especially when it comes to knowing some of the things that we have to have in our toolbox in order to be successful, in order to solve problems, in order to move forward with any trials and tribulations that we have. So Stacy Bulluck, tell you, Dr. Michelle Cooley's not going to be with us today. Well, she might stick her head in. I don't know. I mean, she's busy doing other things. But you guys got me. You got Stacy. And you all can also be part of this conversation. All you have to do is just go to the comments, whichever platform you're watching it on. Ask this great young lady any questions that you might have. Cause she gonna bring it. She gonna bring it. So first of all, let me tell you the purpose of today's show, and it's again getting to know veteran best-selling author, transformation speaker, CEO Stacy Bulluck. Today we're going to be discussing the importance of confidence. 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 You have to be confident in who you are. We're also going to discuss this thing, what we call unconditional love, and why it's so important to always be straight up unconditional love. Most importantly, we're going to talk about critical thinking skills and talk about how important those are. Yeah, but all of those things makes up a person, makes you whole from a mental perspective and from a person that cares. So let me tell you just a little bit about Stacy, and I'm gonna let Stacy tell you a lot about herself. Stacy Bulluck is the founder of Power and Resilience Coaching Agency. She is the president, CEO of Ordered Steps Incorporation, nonprofit serving homeless women and former incarcerated women veterans. A best-selling author, a transformation speaker, certified John Maxwell leadership coach, a civil servant, and an ordained evangelist. Stacy is also a Army veteran, but she's so much more than that. So without any further ado, let me bring Stacy to the stage. How are you doing, Stacy? How are you doing?
Hi, Dr. Cooley, and all of our listeners. I'm doing great. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me here again. I appreciate this space.
Come on now. I been watching you all week, and you just blowing up on Facebook and everything. I mean, I was like, okay, so I start scouting through that. Look, I know Stacy getting ready to say something in a minute. So hey, Stacy, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners just a little bit about you that might have missed the last 5, 6 shows that you was on.
No problem. As I always try to start out with every day in life, remembering whose I am a child of the Most High God, which means that I do my best to follow in obedience. We'll hear a little bit more about that in a minute. In obedience to what I know is the purpose and the will for my life. I know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing talking to you, sharing good tools, sharing intentional advice, sharing love, because this all is coming from a place of love. And that aspect of who Stacey Bulluck is, filled with love now. There were many, many years in my life that was not the case. I was very angry just because I woke up. And now that my life is completely changed, I want to make sure that no one else, if I can help them, who's in my lane, in my tribe, and flowing in the frequency that God has for us, I want to impact them with something from my experiences that will cause them to, as James said earlier, be successful and move forward in life and remain stable in the things that you're doing. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. As he told you all the stuff about the stuff, you know, but the inner core of who I am is the part that will leave a dent in this earth.
Wow, Stacy, it's so much more to you. I just didn't want to take up the first whole segment because I would still been going. You know, I would still. You're doing so many things out there, inspiration to all of us. And I know that there are inspiration or people that came before you, or people that are there now. Who are some of the folks that inspired you to do what you're doing now? I mean, with an open heart and with love and compassion. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Let me see here. I have some longtime friends from the military. I'm a veteran. I served 18 years in the Army. I believe you did say I was in the Army. But shy retirement 2 years because of an accident out in the desert. But, that's neither here nor there now. That was just part of the catalyst. But I have some Army sergeants that popped right in my head when you said that. There's three. There's Sergeant First Class Mary. I won't say their whole names. There is Sergeant First Class and Ronald. I won't say his last name. There we go. I was getting ready to say his last name because in the military, that's all we call each other by is our last names. And Master Sergeant Dawn. I'll say that. And these three individuals impacted me in ways that made me want to uh, be a great soldier. They gave me Mary full of compassion. That's something that is kind of a little bit missing in the military because they want you to come in ready to fight and conquer the hill. Mary had Mary had a way of showing so much compassion that you automatically followed her leadership. So that told me that in leadership skills that I had to have compassion. And here was Sergeant First Class Ronald. He had he had this motto that his maximum effective range for a mistake was zero. I was like, wow, that's intense. We're not giving nobody any opportunity whatsoever to mess up. And so I took that as, wait a minute, I have to give people grace and leeway. So all along I'm learning these leadership principles and not really realizing it until, I can't say right now at this very moment. However, along the way I've learned these leadership traits. And as Sergeant First, Master Sergeant Dawn, she actually got that Master Sergeant while I was one of her troops. And she came to me one day because I had to remind her that because we all come from different sections of the globe at the United States, that you have to have tact and you must be able to communicate as a leader. so that people will listen to you and people will hear you. And so she allowed me to put that in her life. But I didn't think, I thought she was listening, but maybe not listening. But the day that I got promoted to staff sergeant, she literally like came from out of nowhere with an email and said, if anybody deserves it, it's you. Because she said, I will never forget what you told me. And because she was from Kentucky, and most of her troops, we were all African American from various parts of the United States, and most of the parts not all that great. And so that was a great uh, learning lesson for me, to stand up and have courage. But those three, those three will always be dear to my heart. And I've been out of the military for over 20 years now.
It's always some folks that stands out. I got one of my former troops that I call him K Bird. He's on right now. I mean, I'm so proud of that young man, all the great things that he is doing, and he always remind me that some of the things that he's doing, he kind of learned from me, but
Mhm.
he don't know I learned a lot from them. I just didn't show it at the time. And also, I had Ray Leonard Jr. on the show yesterday. Sugar Ray Leonard, oldest son, and
Mhm.
I talked to Ray. Been knowing Ray a long time, and when he was my co-host on my show, there's a couple of things that I said to him. I said, "Hey, now it ain't all about you." And and I didn't think that he paid that much attention. What you saw yesterday, he brought
Uh-huh.
me up and said, "You said this to me." I'm like, "Wow, you listen." I mean, so you and our bosses and all of us, we never know who's really paying attention to what we're doing, but we know that we have to be mindful uh,
Yes,
of things, and we have to lead, and we have to be an example, even if we are the truth.
absolutely. Yes.
So
But
but we're gonna take a station break, then we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about what's in your toolbox too,
all
and
right.
I'm excited about that one. I'm excited about every time I have you on the show. So whichever platform you're watching this on, was it E360 TV, was it YouTube, was it LinkedIn, was it Twitter, was it Facebook, or over 25 other live streaming networks, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask this absolutely great lady any questions you want to. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back shortly after the break.
Life is a series of circles and cycles, phrases and stages. These experiences teach you the lessons of life. You can either ignore them or embrace them. Welcome to It's Your Life with James Cooley. James is a motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation. James is here to equip you to strive for greatness and overcome adversity. It's time to get you equipped today for the challenges of tomorrow. Now, here's the host of It's Your Life, James Cooley.
It's your life.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and like you all already know that Stacy is one of my favorites, and I just love having her on because she is always bringing it. She's bringing it. She's bringing it every single time, you know. And you know what? She bringing it today, and we can really dive off into what's in your toolbox. Part two. And I see K Bird is laughing over the comment that I made a second ago because yeah, he knew that he learned something. I learned something, but just like I was telling Stacy, sometimes we just sit back and okay, I ain't gonna let them know. And they come back and you let them know later. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of him. You know, and we got Stacy Desert 264 Fields. And hi, Stacy.
Hi, how are you?
You know, hey, so
I, uh-huh.
go down, Stacy.
No, I was just gonna say I can't see the picture, so I can't really make out who it is. I hope they tell me who they are later. But
You know,
hi, thank you for joining us.
so wherever you're watching this from, you know, and all you do is go to the comments, ask this great lady any question you like, because we can really talk about what's in your toolbox. Stacy, I was so intrigued when we talked two and a half weeks ago that I was kind of rushing you to talk about this one. And I see on YouTube we got over almost 1,300 people who are watching the show right now.
Wow.
You know, so can you tell our viewers and our listeners why do you come up with this title?
Mm.
And I'm talking about not the title, but the other different phases we're going to talk about in here today.
Absolutely. So I will touch a little bit on why the topic, why the need for this human toolbox. This the human toolbox gives us the ability to feel safe. And when we feel safe, we are motivated to do what we're purposed to do. We have to have resources to implement change. If we don't have a guidebook or not necessarily a physical tangible book, but we don't have something to reach into. And I just heard the little clanking around of the tools when a mechanic or a handyman or a housewife for that matter, or a house husband for that matter, get in and start fiddling around in their toolbox. I have one under my kitchen sink, matter of fact. I kind of sort of know where most things are in there, but sometimes every now and then I got to fiddle around in there to get the right tool out, to make sure that what I'm giving, you know what, the days are over of using a butter knife as a flathead screwdriver. So the days are over for us not using the correct tools to help us navigate on this journey that we call life and be successful at it. So that's why we need
So,
this toolbox.
you said that the days is over for us using a flat like that. Okay, you kind of threw me off on that. That was a good one. That's a very good. But you're right. We have to utilize the right tool, and need to carry that toolbox with us. I mean, it doesn't have to be a physical toolbox that we carry around. but it have to be in mind, body, and soul. And wow, I think we got a question already. We got a K Bird here asking you a question. Speaking of leadership, what ways were you able to use your leadership development slash gains in the military in your afterlife?
Great question. And I believe, matter of fact, I know I have a great answer. There was some there are some characteristics that I carry with me all the time. And one of them is flexibility. Because I will never forget the day that they came to me at 4:25 and said, "Oh, we having a meeting at 4:30." What? I'm ready to go home. I don't want to be here with you all anymore. That's the the other side of Stacy. The part that doesn't want to bend, the part, and we're gonna get into that later. The part that doesn't want you coming in and disrupting the thoughts that I'm having for that day. I got my day planned out. Don't you dare come in and make no adjustments. So flexibility is a huge component in life. Because stuff is going to happen. And then being in the military at the time, they wanted to tell us something that was important for the world's safety. So guess what? At least for the United States safety, put me put it that way. So I had to be flexible and say, you know what, this is not about you. This is about somebody else. Take away that selfish tool and now bring in the compassionate tool and say, wait a minute, I have to think about somebody else outside of me. So those leadership traits are stuck with me. One of that leadership trait, I'll say there were many.
Oh yeah, and I see the deserve a 2 6 feet feel said I remember those days and I sometimes still use a butter knife. But leadership traits, yeah, you're right. They stick with us, and we have to be able to. I give analogy, Stacy, of when you run across people and you see things, something good or bad. Especially
Mhm.
from a leadership perspective. Sometimes you might run across somebody and they do something, they said something like, wow, that's great. And you grab that and put that in the bag on your right hand side.
Mhm.
Sometimes you run across bad leaders and you hear them say some things and they're like, oh, that's horrible. But you grab some of that and put it in your bag on your left hand side. So you do that through life.
Mhm.
And then when you find yourself in that leadership position where you got some good things from some and you that's on your right bad things from others. When you find yourself falling into one of those different traits, especially the negative side, and you gotta lead by example, and you doing the same thing that guy was doing or getting ready to do that, you have to look in that bag and just push it back, but go to the other side and look at that and
Mhm.
say, wow, this might work. This is what inspired me that day. That's what I believe leadership qualities and ability to gain these qualities are all about.
Yes, for sure, for sure. They have it in writing, leadership principles, but one of the things, like you said, that side of the things that you saw that you didn't that you felt, no, this is not going to work. You still need to know that. We still need. There are times when now they say we learn lessons, and so that was sometimes those things are lessons for us. That's why when I talked about Sergeant Ronald with the zero maximum effective range for a mistake, like, wow. And anybody who doesn't know what the maximum effective range is, that means that a weapon has the capability of hitting its target at a specific range, and once you go past that, then that means that it's kind of iffy whether you'll be able to hit the bullseye with it or not.
Wow.
But he had no tolerance And that's something I said, no, I can't do that, because life will show up for people, and all of a sudden, people like, I don't know what's, young kids coming in the military with young kids.
Mhm.
That thing shows up in a way different than somebody who is my age as a grandmother. I have some wisdom, some tools in my belt that I'm able to navigate through certain situations. But everybody doesn't have that right off the bat. It comes with wisdom and experience and time.
I believe it comes with, I call it knowledge, understanding, which
Hmm.
leads to a key. So knowledge, that you gain from past experiences. And once we
Hmm.
start understanding those things, it leads us to a key. And I'll tell you about that key later on. But last time we talked about, in the toolbox, we talked about your emotions, intelligence, and and a lot of great things. Today, I
Hmm.
want to talk about this thing called confidence. Confidence.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
tell me what's your thoughts on confidence, and having and gaining the confidence that we need in order to, first of all, satisfy us that, hey, I can do this. I know they're telling me I can't. I can do this. Let's talk about that.
We touched on it a little bit earlier, and we have to know who we are. So I wrote this program. It's called SOAR, and the first letter S is for self. That's because we have to know who we are. We have to know the good stuff about us, the bad stuff about us, because if we don't want to know these things, and most importantly, tell ourselves the truth about these things, then, like I said earlier, I was not somebody who was going to, not necessarily use the word conform, but I didn't want to bend to anything. I was raised as an only child. So what was I having to bend to? No, nothing. No one. I didn't have to share, none of that. So I had to learn these things in my adult life when pain kept coming, like, why people treat me like that? Well, because you act like the world revolves around you, and it doesn't. But we have to know who we are with confidence, assurance, certainty, to know who you are and understand you. You used that word earlier. You said something else earlier. You said when you find yourself. A story in the Bible that I love is about the prodigal son, and it talks about when he came to himself, when he found himself laying in this pigsty, saying, "Whoa, wait a minute, my father's servants got more uh, good going for them than I do right now. I'm laying over here." But he had to come to himself. He had to find himself. He had to come. Something came up in him and said, "Hey, you're not a pig, so you shouldn't be laying in a pig slop." And that's something that we need to know for ourselves. You're not a pig, so you shouldn't be laying in the pig slop. You are not a tool to be misused, young lady out there. So stop finding yourself in these situations where you're being used and abused, young lady and young man. Let me take that back, this day and age. So we have to say, wait a minute. Everything about me, all my flaws go with me in this process of understanding who I am. And it simply just means that I'm flourishing in my purpose. Confidence is a fear killer. So when the fear killer shows up, you can do all things, because I'm going to do it afraid, scared, nervous. Today, even today, you said how many times I've been on your show?
You've been on a lot, and you're going to be on a lot more.
And do you know that I was nervous?
Never.
Yes, nervous. And but once I get into being, that's the key part. If we are being, the human part is going to take care of itself. It's going to be here. It's going to be this blob of skin as long as we're here. But that being part, Are we using that being, that purpose to find out what am I supposed to do? First of all, I had really no idea that I was going to be on anybody's TV show talking about anything else, and certainly not having my own. Bless you, man of God. You are phenomenal in bringing out stuff out of people that I didn't realize that was in there.
And you're going to be absolutely fantastic. We're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to pick it up. I saw it the first time, Stacy, and when you first on the show, I said you got to have your own show. But we're going to talk about that one in a minute. But also, just like what you said, know yourself, love yourself, accept yourself before you share yourself. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you do is go to the comments. We got a lot of them here that we're going to get to when we get back. It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll see you shortly after the break.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
Wow, that was my fault. I messed that up. I mean, I was kind of slow. I'm still locked in on what Stacy was saying last time. So, sometimes, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. And having so much fun here, like we always do here. Always have fun. And that's what it's all about. It's having fun, sharing your ideas, uplifting, and, just educating. Mm-hmm. And just like what Stacy is talking about, understanding that you're not going to get too far if you don't have confidence in yourself. Because if you don't have confidence, anytime somebody tells you something different, you're gonna be going all over the place. And one of the things, Stacey, that most people have to understand is that the decisions that they make, these are decisions that are made by them, not by what everybody else is telling them to do. Because you got to live with the decision. So we got a couple of comments here. We got Dessert Fields. Amen. The prodigy son is one of my favorites for my sons and my grandsons. So that is and I just love how you share that story. And she also got a question for you. What leadership tools would you use to direct someone who comes home from the military that can't get started in society? What tools can I use to reach that person?
Okay, well, first thing that came to my mind was a tool that is a physical, something that may bring out the passion in them and the Small Business Administration has many tools for veterans, and they're free. And they can go in and get a mentor to start their own business, somebody to actually ask them questions and go through the process of what is it that you want to do. Because I was in the dental field for the whole time I was in the military, and I quickly was moved out of the dental field when I got out of the military because it just didn't fit anymore, put it that way. So then on the other hand, if that individual is needing tools to motivate them and encourage them, that's something that they may have to reach out to a coach. They may have to find some veteran groups that actually are geared to encouraging others, veterans, to start life over again. That was something that I had to do, not because I chose at that moment, but because of the injury that I sustained. I could not be a soldier anymore. So I had to come out and recreate myself. I'm recreating. But the person who came to the forefront was the person that I already was from birth. And I started to help somebody else. I always tell people, if you have something going on in your life, and not necessarily because you want to get away from it, because that's not the answer to get away from it, but go help somebody else and watch the tools that you already have that you don't even know you have will start to come to the forefront. The leadership capabilities will start to come to the forefront because for my case, I began to mentor these women who were incarcerated. And I had to, stand up to some, because some of them really didn't want to come to my class. They just showed up for whatever the reason, to get out of whatever. So they brought that same mentality and attitude with them. But I had to be confident in who I am and say, you know what? If I were going to be intimidated by you, I wouldn't be standing right here. So make sure that, you think about it. We all have a passion. It could be painting cars. It could be rebuilding cars. It could be upholstery. It could be anything outside of what we did in the military. And unfortunately, for some of our men and women now who are fighting on a battlefield, there's no position to change over into from the military to civilian life where you carry a weapon every day, all day, except for police officers and those of the like. But they're even for police officers, they're to protect and serve. When military is strictly is to protect a certain sect of people, but not everybody. So police officers are different. But yeah, so get them in a group of encouragers, military veterans. There's many DAVs or American Legions and things like that. So hopefully I answered that question.
You brought up a couple of good things. You're coming out and not really understanding where you're going. A lot of the families just contact me, and first of all, just like you said, you got to figure out what you want to do. If you want to do everything, like 15, 20 different things, you ain't got yourself nothing. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing because you're not even focused on something that's gonna make you better. So you have to narrow everything down, I believe. And just like a mentor, a leader, someone that you trust and look up to, or whatever, that make sure it's the right person that you trusting and looking up to, because everybody is not. You don't want to be follow everybody because everybody ain't right. So we got another question here from K Bird. What tools in your toolbox do you use for conflict resolution? Can you give an example?
Absolutely. I actually was for 5 years of my military career a EEO representative. So I had to do. You're welcome. I had to do conflict resolution on a consistent basis, going into different departments. When I was at the old Walter Reed in Washington D.C. and just being in Washington D.C. alone requires you to have conflict resolution. But what I would do is help everybody see that there is good in everybody that's around you at that moment, in your job circle, in your family circle, um, relationships. There's something good in that individual, and there's something that you were drawn to in a relationship. From the relationship aspect, you were drawn to something about them that was good. So I say the first thing is, don't look at everybody as being a bad person. Secondly, don't take things personal that are not personal. Work is never personal for me. It's a business. And if we make friends, great. If we don't, that's great too. I'm still going to respect you and I'm still going to be professional. So, with all that being said, there's many, many resources in a room. You never know who knows what or what they know how to do unless you want to get to know them. So, I think I said about 3, 4 things in conflict resolution. Take down your own guards. That's number 5. Take your stuff down, because we have to take down our own conflict. And then what is it that we're trying to resolve? Well, the bottom line is, if it's for a company, what's the bottom line of that company? Is it to sell computers? Well, that's the bottom line. Or for Veterans Affairs, is it to serve the veteran better? How are we looking at, what are we looking at? Stop looking at us. That'll take away half the conflict right there. Come to a common goal. And that common goal is the mission. So that's a leadership trait, a word that's frequently used in military settings. The mission. What is the mission? We all have one. That's the bottom line.
You're absolutely right. I'm gonna say right now that we're not gonna get past 5 or 6 questions today. You already know that, but we're gonna have to come back. Maybe you're gonna come back again. We still got a lot more time. But you mentioned confidence, and and a lot of people might mistake confidence, or they might get overconfidence and to become arrogant. Yeah. So can you explain the difference between confidence and arrogance?
I am just elated to talk about this. Let me tell you, confidence is when you have a trust and that you have this knowing and in your ability. For me, and I believe for you too, James, that we have confidence in God first and foremost. I have, since I think you did believe that I'm an ordained evangelist. So in the Word of God, it says in Philippians chapter 1, verse 6, that in the Message version, there has never been the slightest doubt in my mind. So that's what confidence is. You don't have no doubt in your mind, not the slightest little bit of doubt. One version of it says, I am sure that God who began the work in you, within you, will keep right on helping you grow in his grace until his task within you is finally finished. So that's where the confidence comes from. That's where the trust comes from. And the more you see yourself doing exactly what it is you were called to do, I don't care whether it's braiding hair, doing makeup, doing photography, being an artist, an accountant, a landscaper, a janitorial service person. It doesn't matter what you do. Do it because you know without a doubt that this is who you are. There are people out here in the environmental services area, every day they come up with different solutions and chemicals to clean, to disinfect, things that we need to have done in hospitals and in other arenas. There's so many places when the pandemic was going on that everything had to be disinfected and wiped down. Guess what? Somebody had to develop that chemical. So when you are absolutely sure without a doubt, I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to do. I like shining these mirrors. I got a friend, I have to say, please stop wiping on that mirror. Because you gonna wipe the shine off the mirror. I have a cousin who was cleaning my car one time. He was in there, James, I kid you not. He was in there just sweating, bullets rolling off his head. I said, you in here sweating in the car now that you just cleaned up because you're rubbing so hard because you want to make sure that you do a good job because you love cleaning. Some people like it.
Hold that thought. We got to take a station break. We're going to come back. Hold on. I want to talk about the sweat falling off the head when we get back. So.
All right.
Hey, I tell you, I told you. It's fantastic. I'm looking at 1,300 people just on one network alone looking at this. So, and the numbers are going up, going back. So if you want to be part of this conversation, all you do is go to the comments, ask this young lady any question that you like, and I promise you I'll get you on It's Your Life. I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley. We'll be back with Stacy Bulluck shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life, and I got Stacy here, and we just having so much fun. And I tell you, I got to get Stacy back on real soon now because we got about 3 portions that we're not even gonna get a chance to talk about. But I want to get back on the confidence question because you answered that one, but you didn't answer the arrogance portion of it. So can you pick that up?
Yes, that is the part that I know we need to get to. Arrogance is, first of all, let me say this. Doubt breeds instability. So if we are doubting who we are, we become unstable. And if we're unstable, we can't expect nothing from God. So let me move to arrogance. Arrogance means that you're inflated, you puffed up. That tells me right off the break that some love is missing because love is not puffed up and love doesn't think it's better than anybody. And I saw this word and I thought to myself, wow, that really ties in with arrogance. And that word is obstinate. 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 Nate or obstinate. Meaning that you are stiff-necked. You are stubborn. You are unwilling to move forward with anybody else's ideas outside of your own. It's definitely a negative implication when you are stiff-necked. God told Moses, don't talk to me about them stiff-necked people. They rebelled against me. They went against what was told. So these people, they go against what instructions are. They want to go against the grain all the time. Sometimes you got to go against the grain, but not in a malicious, hard-hearted way, with the determination to not change your mind, even if it's going to benefit you. You know, that definition right there sounds like an addicted person, because if you're having addiction, you're just going to keep on abusing that thing, whatever it is, to regardless of the consequences. And that's what an arrogant person would do. Listen what Proverbs 29:1 says is a person who will not bend after many warnings will suddenly be broken beyond repair. Ooh. Okay. So I wrote this book too, James, called Don't Let Your Brain Go Numb. And what it talks about is us becoming deadened and desensitized to the things of life. And unfortunately, that has happened in America regarding a lot of things. I don't like to mention too many negative things out my face. Sometimes I like to keep it all positive, if at all possible. So, but we don't want to become stubborn. We don't want to become dead, and we don't want to be hard. We want to have our hearts to a place where they're pliable and flexible, and we can hear, and then we can move forward and be successful. Last time we talked about some people who know their stuff, particularly in the IT world. They some pretty intelligent folks. But it's one thing when you can, you back your stuff up. That's cool. But the word arrogance also is synopsis with conceited, and conceited means empty. So when somebody is puffing themselves up, they still empty on the inside, and they want you to feel just as empty as they are. But today we're not going to be feeling no empty, because we are coming here today to get that tool to understand we need to trust ourselves and be confident.
Wow. That's I'm afraid to even ask this other question because I know we're gonna run out of time, and it's about self-esteem, confidence, self-esteem. You got 1 minute or less, because
Yes,
I got.
I'll say real quick. Self-esteem has to do with what you see on the outside. Your self-assurance is what you need to know on the inside, that you are stable, that you are strong, that you are creative, you are resourceful. But the stuff that you see on the outside, like this house, whatever, your car, that's what's going to push you, poof you up, for lack of better words, to say, oh, I'm somebody, I've arrived, I've made it. Well, when that stuff is gone, then what?
You got a point there. Hey, Stacy, real quickly, because we only got 3 minutes to go on the show. I want to talk about your show. Your show is coming. I'm excited. If people are excited about watching you on my show, just imagine what you're getting ready to get beginning, I think, the 19th.
It is May 19th at 4 p.m.
Tell them about it. Tell them about it.
Tools for everyday living. I'm going to give you the short version of it. And in every episode, you will have the ability to implement ways of navigating through real life circumstances. Just a little secret. Challenges are simply circumstances, or turn it around, excuse me. Challenges are opportunities. So don't look at it as something that's negative. Always have a tool. And if you listen to Tools for Everyday Living, join us every Friday at 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
That's what I'm getting ready to say, on E360, or also YouTube. It's going to be live on YouTube. It's going to be live on about 25 live streaming platforms, YouTube, Twitter, the whole 9 yards. You'll be able to catch Stacy every Friday. And then I'm trying to talk her into going 2 days a week, if her schedule allow her to do that. So that's what we're doing. We're doing some great things with the It's Your Life Network, E360, having great guests and hosts. And Stacy is going to be doing all of these great things. And I'm excited. I will be tuned in. I hope you will tune in. I'm going to try to get Stacy back on prior to that, because we didn't talk about critical thinking, and we didn't talk about unconditional love, and we're going to talk about all that stuff. And I know it's important that we do. So Stacy, like always, any departing words or message that you got 30 seconds or less?
People, always be awesome in every situation. Be awesome in it, whether it's good or bad. That's my motto. Always be awesome. Think high. I got a new one today. Mind up. Not woman up, not man up. Mind up.
Hey, I love you, Stacey. I love you.
Love you
It's
too.
so, I just want to thank you for always taking the time to come on the show. And you always bring great topics. And you keep bringing them. I thank you every time you exceed the previous ones. And you are certainly the highest rate getter on a guest that I have on my show. And we get a lot of people. So
Yeah, you do.
mind up,
Yes.
mind up, mind up. So thank you so much, Stacey. Thank you so much. And let's talk real soon, because if I can sneak you back on prior to that, we'll get you back on. And then people will be watching in on the 19th. I'll be one of them. Thank you. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my viewers out there who always take the time to tune in to the James Cooley Show. It's Your Life. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything that you do. It's your life. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.